Mr. Clerk, I understand there's a provision in the statute that says that the camera may only be used in the school zone on the day that it's to be used, it has passed its own self-test, that it tests itself before it's used on a daily basis. Could you explain to me how this does that?
Well, like anything that operates on an electronic basis, it runs a diagnostic. And I'm not enough of an electrical or electronic engineer to explain it, but it's the closest thing I can think of is when you have a generator, and the generator kicks on and off.
Right.
To go through some sort of diagnostic cycle.
Right. So do we know, though, are these cameras equipped in a way that if they fail their own self-diagnostic test, because they are testing themselves, does it disable itself and not work?
I'm checking. Okay. Apparently, there is an operator, I guess somebody at a console, that runs a diagnostic, keeps a log, and has to sign that the camera was operating within the standard of operation for that mechanism.
Now, I see that it also provides that the camera has to undergo an annual calibration check also. Is this going to be done by the municipality or by the company that runs the cameras?
I would assume by an independent monitor that is part of the contract with the locality.
So it wouldn't be the company that furnishes the cameras, would it be?
Apparently, it is an independent calibration laboratory.
Okay. All right. And then it says, I know there's a provision in the statute also that the people that install these cameras have to have they have to have completed a training program in the procedures for setting up these cameras and testing them. Again, who's going to be enforcing this provision?
Could you repeat that?
Yes.
What the concern is?
It's my understanding under the statute that the people, the technicians that install these cameras and operate them have to undergo some procedural training of how to install these cameras, set them up to detect speed. Who's going to be enforcing to see that these people are certified? Is it going to be the municipality that utilizes the company? Is it going to be someone else that checks this?
Well, I don't know that the statute speaks to that, but I would believe that just as the state ensures that our weights and measure inspectors that go to gas stations or inspect any variety of measuring devices, that would be the standard that would be set up.
Well, I'm just, if I may just reference you to page 6 of the bill at line 5 and 6.
Okay.
It has the specific language in there that the operators, it's line 3 actually, paragraph 3, that operators of the photo speed violation monitoring systems shall have completed training in the procedures for setting up, testing, and operating such systems. And it talks about them signing the setup log. But I just like to know who's going to be making sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing in this regard.
Well, I would assume that the municipality would have a way of working with the operating system because they wouldn't want the tickets not to be upheld.
Right. And if I may go on to another area, the bill also provides that if the owner was not the operator of the vehicle at the time of the violation, the owner may maintain an action for indemnification against the person who was operating the vehicle at that particular time. Could you tell us how this person brings this action for indemnification and where he or she brings this action for indemnification? Which court would handle such a matter?
Well, if it's $50, I think it has to be small claims.
but we're not sure. We're not sure. We think,
No, I'm just making the rather what I would suggest is a common sense suggestion that you know, courts, you wouldn't be going into civil court because it doesn't meet the level of remuneration that is involved, so it would have to be small claims.
and if I could just take you a little bit further, it also provides that under Section 1809 of the Vehicle and Traffic Law, that the municipalities cannot charge an additional surcharge under the provisions of the Vehicle and Traffic Law. However, I know for a fact in Nassau County, and I believe Suffolk County does it also, under their administrative code, they add a $35 surcharge to these tickets because they do it currently on the red light cameras. So you got a $50 fine, and then you get a $35 county surcharge. And I don't see anything in this bill that prevents the respective counties from imposing their own surcharge. I know they'll be precluded under the state surcharge. They will not be imposing the state mandatory surcharge, but there's nothing here that precludes them from imposing the county surcharge.
I will look at that. I don't think there is a prohibition against the locality adding an additional surcharge.
Right. So in reality, the ticket in Nassau and Suffolk will be $85, not $50 as prescribed.
More of an inducement not to speed.
Okay. Okay. On the bill, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Ms. Clerk.
On the bill, Mr. Montesano.
Thank you. You know, Mr. Speaker, we're caught in that situation where, you know, the bill is publicized as a safety measure. Of course, no one wants to be in a position to vote against something that protects children. And, you know, we all have our feeling on this for the real matters of why this is being utilized at this time. Because I would be under the impression that if we had a severe traffic safety problem around schools, that this would be addressed statewide. You know, the best deterrent, having sat as a village justice for over 6 years in Nassau County, I dealt with these speeding tickets all the time, and one of the policies that most courts have is if you get caught speeding in a school zone, there is no plea bargaining the ticket down to a lesser offense. The same thing when you pass a stopped school bus. There's 3 points on the summons, and when you're done with the fine and surcharge, the minimum hit is $185. And once you reach 6 points on your driver's license in this state, you have the driver safety improvement fee that they charge you $350 for each year for a period of 3 years, plus your points on your insurance increase. So there's the incentive not to be speeding, no less speeding in a school zone. There's nothing like it. It was brought out before by some of my colleagues on the floor, that when a police officer stops the motorist for speeding, it's that person that receives the ticket. They're taking the impact of the sanctions, and that's where you discourage it from taking place. This is becoming a convenient way to enforce the law without the full ramifications. We're letting people buy themselves out of a problem. This doesn't correct the problem. We're just $50 is de minimis in today's times for this type of violation. So, you know, while we're put in this position, and by this statute, we're particularly giving just the authority to the respective counties to pass their own laws, which they have to answer to their voting public for, I still think that it's not the proper way. You know, several years ago, the Thruway Authority tried an experiment and issued speeding tickets to people based on the time it took you to go from one zone to the next on a toll plaza, and that determined that you were speeding. And they tried an experiment with mailing out some speeding violations. And the courts have always held that when someone's going to be cited for speeding under state law, the speed has to be detected visually by a police officer who gives an estimated speed that the car is traveling. And only then can he use a radar device to confirm his estimate of the speed. The ticket is based on an officer's training and visual observation and detection of speed, not on a radar device itself. Those cases must be dismissed. When I've had them and the officer said he couldn't detect it, he used a radar gun, the ticket would have to be dismissed. Radar guns are only used to confirm an estimate. Here, we're using a radar device strictly to issue the ticket with no estimation by a police officer. The device has to be pointed at certain parts of a vehicle, and is it going to be aimed at the vehicle as it's oncoming, or is it going to detect the speed after the vehicle passes the camera, because when you hit a car from the rear with the radar device, you have the negative Doppler effect, which diminishes the whole reading altogether. So there are many things to consider. You know, red light cameras are one thing. They're a different animal. They work rather well. Their images are very accurate in what they show and their timing. But when you get to speed, you're dealing with a whole different situation. So I think we really have to think about this as we move forward, because in my humble opinion is we're doing this with a school zone. It's only a matter of time before they're going to be looking for this device to be used in many other places, and we're going to be having a problem we can't deal with, because all these mechanical reliances that we're using, that's just what they are, mechanical. And I'm a little bit leery about who tests these devices and who certifies them, because when you leave it to the companies that have installed them and operate them, who get a percentage of the fine money, there's an incentive for them not to do their due diligence. So I would caution my colleagues when they take their position on this bill. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.